Austria-Hungary constantly ignores Germany's advice and then comes running back to Germany whenever they get in trouble.
So they are basically Italians of the First World War.
Hi everyone, this is Weronika and
this is Waldemar, hello. And first of all, we would like to thank you all because we just reached 100 subscribers.
Yep.
So this is the first movie we are uploading since we reached this milestone for us.
Yeah.
And it is quite a milestone, I must say. And since then, it's not even one day later, but we have another 20-something subscribers, 26 I think.
26, I just checked
as for now.
5 times.
So we really, really want to thank you all because this means everything to us. And maybe not everything, but a lot. Definitely a lot.
And you've been leaving us lots of likes and comments as well, and it's really super nice. We read all of them, sometimes twice, you know. So
we
thank you so much.
A lot.
We appreciate it a lot.
Maybe not all the comments. But
there was like one comment that wasn't that nice. Most of them were really super nice.
But yeah, most of you are really supportive towards us, so we want to thank you all a lot for that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe right now and give us thumbs up and ring the notification bell and do everything of that because that would make us happy and put a smile on both of our faces. Okay, here now we are continuing with Oversimplified. By the way, Oversimplified is for now our most watched movie of all the videos that we uploaded since until today. And today we are watching another video of Oversimplified. This time it is World War I. And you can see that this is really one of his first movies because he really did oversimplify it back then. Don't you think?
Yeah, that he narrowed it down.
They are much shorter than they are
True,
right now.
because it's 30 minutes for the whole war, which is a little bit longer than the Second World War, I think.
No, I think the Second World War was longer than the first one.
It was?
And I think the first one was before. First he uploaded...
No, I meant the actual war.
Actual war, yeah.
I was like, what?
Sorry.
What? But, you know, I questioned my historical knowledge so much that I believed you, but then I was like...
No, I meant that it's one of his first videos and it's short and he really did oversimplify it back then. And now, because I watched his videos and I watched all of them. And his newest one is, as of now, Punic Wars Part 2. And, I mean, it's not Part 2, but first Punic War and the second Punic War. So now it's the second Punic War and it has 2 parts and they are about 30 minutes, I think, each.
Okay, so a little bit more detail.
And it's Part 3 coming out soon. And he said soon, but it's been 6 months ago. And,
I guess
he promised it won't be 6 months, so we will see. But yeah, now he doesn't tend to oversimplify it as much.
Yeah, there were some comments on our last video from World War II. I think the people were saying it's too oversimplified as well.
But
how much can you fit in an hour?
Like also someone said, this is World War, so it's hard to... you couldn't put it in a book or even 10 books if you would really try.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can do this in one video on YouTube. All right, but it's time to begin this video. So World War I Oversimplified Part 1.
The world of 1914, a time of modern technology, culture, and fashion. Truly the height of civilization. Let's have a war. Everyone knew a big war was coming. France wanted some stuff back that Germany had taken from it. Germany wanted to take more of everyone's stuff, and they were building a big sexy navy that was making the British uncomfortable. These two empires thought they were really cool, but lots of different people who lived there.
If you, maybe I will pause a bit later.
I didn't think it was...
because we are Slovaks here, but Poland, which is our country of origin, is not on this map of Europe from this time because it was what is the term for that in English?
I have no idea, but taken apart by different countries, divided between different countries.
Yeah, there were 3 divisions of Poland between Prussia, which is Germany now, Russia, and Austro-Hungary. I mean, Austro-Hungary didn't take part in the second partition of Poland, but in the first one and the third one, and this is after the third one. So Poland doesn't exist as a country as of 1914.
And how many years was it? Over 100 years that it didn't exist, something like that, right?
123.
120. Oh yeah, that was the nice even number.
It was nice to remember because it was
nice to remember, yet I failed.
Well, I don't remember the time, but it was 1 to 3. 123 years we weren't on the map of Europe. Alright, sorry for that pause.
So cool. And some of them had even been declaring independence with help from Russia. Everyone was talking about each other behind each other's backs, throwing the fact that military technology had come a long way since the last major war, and suddenly everyone was pretty eager to beat each other up. In this area of Austria-Hungary live some Serbs and Bosnians who hated living in Austria-Hungary. So the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand goes there for a nice drive in an open-top car with his car's route published in advance. And that went just about as well as you'd expect. Some assassins were waiting for him along the way and threw bombs at his car, but they missed and blew up some officers behind him instead. So the Archduke goes into hiding, leaves Sarajevo, and the whole war never happens. Except no, the Archduke doesn't leave, but instead goes back out in the open-top car to visit the injured officers in hospital. The driver takes a wrong turn and by sheer coincidence gets stuck beside one of the failed assassins, who shoots him. Austria-Hungary.
I never knew that. I just knew because when you open a textbook at school, all they say is just that he's been assassinated.
Yeah.
I never knew that. But why don't they tell you this at school?
It's interesting,
it would be so much easier to remember.
That it was such a lack for them to actually did it.
Lack.
Yeah. I think maybe fluke would be more appropriate word for that. But people now argue kind of. They dispute this event because they wonder if they didn't kill the
Duke?
Yeah, the Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe the World War I wouldn't happen, or if would happen anyway, then when would it happen?
Yeah.
And what would be the reason for the start of the war? So
they were looking for provocation at the time, right? So the
tension in Europe was big, and I think most historians tend to agree that the World War I would happen
anyway in a different way. Mm-hmm.
But maybe it would be 1 year later, maybe it would have been 2 years later, and everything could change at that time.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah.
But if it started a year later, it could have looked different for sure.
Yeah, and it was just this close. Okay.
Hungary is understandably pissed about all this, and they think the Serbian government had something to do with it, which they might have. So they go to their ally Germany and say, "Hey Germany, we're going to declare war on Serbia," and Germany is all for that. So Austria-Hungary send a big list of impossible demands to Serbia, and when Serbia refuses, they declare war. Austria-Hungary and Germany are friends, and Serbia is protected by Russia, who's friends with France, so they all declare war on each other. Montenegro joins in too. France and Britain also have a kind of alliance, so when France says, "Hey Britain, you got my back?" Britain is like, maybe? And then they decide to stay out of it, which is great for Germany, because Germany has a plan. They know that Russia is so big and clumsy that it will take them a while to get ready for war. So with this guy in charge, Germany will send all its troops into France at lightning speed while Russia's getting ready, defeat France, then move all the troops to Russia and defeat Russia.
Doesn't seem very
we
comfortable.
all speak German and eat Pfefferpottast every day. Just one problem. France...
Also, one more fun fact about Poland is that because the country was divided into 3 different countries, and during the First World War, the countries were enemies of each other, like Russia and Prussia. Mm-hmm. Then the Poles, who forcefully joined the army.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to fight against.
They had to fight against each other.
Strategy.
So they were both Poles, and they didn't want to take part in any of this, but they were forced to fight with each other. But yeah, it's not like it happened only to Poles, but we share it because we know it.
Well, you know it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I know it.
Yeah,
it doesn't come up in my
Yeah. This has loads of forts and defenses along its German border, and Germany can't waste any time fighting them, so Germany decides to go around them through Belgium.
Not this time.
Belgium is easy, but Germany wants to march 750,000 troops through it to get around France's defenses. They're hoping Belgium will just kind of sit down and shut up, but they don't. They fight back, and they're pretty good too, so they slow the Germans down. What's worse is that Britain shows up, and they're pretty pissed that Germany's invading neutral countries. So now Britain declares war on Germany. So Germany push on through Belgium and commit some atrocities along the way. They also wear spikes and sometimes skulls on their uniform. So if you're trying to not look like the bad guys, good job.
I was
The
just
Allies
thinking
have a
about that.
propaganda extravaganza, and this starts
And they
happening
didn't learn
around
nothing
the
from
world,
that.
notably in America. The US President Woodrow Wilson sees himself as a bit of a Jesus figure and spends most of the war trying to get everyone to just hug it out. But there's also a large population of ethnic Germans living in the United States, and when the war first broke out, they were like, yay, Germany. But now that they're committing atrocities in Belgium, they're less enthusiastic. Let's play Spot the French Soldier. Did you see him? Easy, right? He's wearing a bright blue
I heard
uniform
about
with
that.
red trousers. And do you know who else spotted him easily too? The Germans. So when the French were slowly marching in columns through the countryside, the Germans easily tore them to shreds with their giant guns. All the nations involved...
I remember that this is an unrelated personal fact, but I remember this bit because we had two different history teachers at school. Not really, but there was that one teacher that came in for an exchange on one lesson, and it was about the beginning of World War One. And I remember like she spoke about these uniforms and everything, and it's like the only lesson from history that I remember.
So the only part of history that you remember from school is about clothes.
Yeah, well, the beginning of World War One, but also clothes, yes, and a lot of clothes formation in Greece as well, because we went over that a lot. And I also remember what the Tolos is, because my teacher, it's like a circular temple, because my teacher asked it, and he said you can get like an A+ if you say, and I didn't want to say, because I wasn't sure I was correct, and then at the end I didn't get an A grade, I was missing 1 point, and if I had got, yeah. Okay, this was...
This war went in with an old school war mentality, and all of them had to update their uniforms and tactics a lot during the Great War. Because this war was going to be like nothing anyone had ever seen before. Russia's ready for war, and way earlier than expected. Hey, Austria-Hungary, can you get on top of that? Oh yeah, sure, we've got this. Nope. So Germany has to send some troops back to the east to defend against the Russians. The chief of staff of the Austro-Hungarian army is this guy, and although he is handsome, he turns out not to be the best military strategist. Austria-Hungary constantly ignores Germany's advice, and then comes running back to Germany whenever they get in trouble. Austria-Hungary even gets its ass kicked by tiny...
So they are basically Italians of the First World War. And now we have no more subscribers from Italy.
Serbia, who repels all their invasion attempts at the start of the war. It's better news for Germany in the north, though, where they almost completely wipe out the Russian Second Army. Back on the Western Front, the Germans continue advancing and are in sight of Paris. At this point, anyone would be forgiven for thinking the Germans were going to get that quick victory after all, but then things start to go wrong. The French commander-in-chief knew something had to be done, and he ordered his armies to stop retreating. In the resulting battle, a gap opened up in the German lines. If a gap opens up, the enemy can use it to flank you from the side and behind, so the German armies have to retreat. The Allies launch a counterattack, so the Germans dig into defensive positions. The Allies do the same. Then both sides move north, trying to outflank each other along the way. When they reach the sea, they're in a stalemate with trench systems running the whole way from the coast to Switzerland, the beginning of trench warfare on the Western Front. Here's how trench warfare works. Two opposing lines of trenches with no man's land in between. One side would pummel the other with hundreds of thousands of artillery shells, sometimes for days at a time. This had a huge psychological effect on the soldiers, leaving many shell-shocked. Then, the attacking troops would leave their trenches and rush across no man's land, a muddy wet mass of shell craters and barbed wire. The defending trench would unleash machine gun fire on the attackers, inflicting thousands of casualties. The attackers would send wave after wave until either they gave up or the opposing trench was finally overrun. There would be months of fighting and the deaths of thousands.
I wonder what goes on in the head of a soldier who has to do something like that. You know that you are sitting in a trench and you see wave of your colleagues just being wiped out, and then another wave, and then another, and you are like fourth or fifth wave, and yet they yell charge, and you have to get up and run in front of the bullets.
It depends on the person, but I would assume the majority, you assume you're not going to die. You just reject it and you're like, okay, I will not be that person who dies.
I don't know. But I wonder, what it takes, what it takes for a person to get your head out of the hole,
yeah,
and When
Yeah,
you have,
but
when you have
the
bullets
problem is
going
what
everywhere.
else are you going to do?
Yeah,
because
they-
you can't
they
run
will
away
shoot-
because they will shoot you.
if you want.
Yeah, and
charge.
if you will go the other way or will try to run away and you desert, then your
Yeah.
friends will shoot you.
Yeah, I know, but it's
Yeah.
now you can ration it
Yeah.
in your mind, but to actually make that decision and get up, it's unimaginable for me.
In order to gain a few meters or kilometers of land. Living in the trenches was hard work too. Corpses, mud that could swallow you whole, pools of poisonous water, rats, disease, the smell. It's insane that millions of soldiers put up with these conditions and commanders ordered them to do so for
Right,
years.
yep. Alright, as usual, we post right before the end.
Just a little bit, but they highlighted what we said as well, so that worked out.
Yeah, so that was part 1,
Yep.
and part 2 will be coming soon after that, so I think 1 or 2 days, maybe 2, because we try to, mix our content, because we have, different people watch different things, so possibly there will be Oversimplified part 1, and after 1 day, maybe 2, but I think 1, we will upload the second one.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you very much for that. And sorry, because maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the second part.
Alright. They will say in the comments that I'm not allowing you to speak.
Are you not allowing me to speak?
No, but...
Some people told you in the comments to not allow me to speak. At least 2 people. So there, that goes for you.
Alright,
Right.
thank you.
Bye bye.